Welcome to Love Always Self, a podcast about connection to self, reflections of self, and how this impacts our reality.
We're all about trying to find balance, discovering tools for spiritual wellness, and creating a safe place to have loving conversations about a broad range of topics.
I'm Karista, a spiritualist with a background in nursing, health coaching, and personal training. I believe in a holistic mindset where everyone and everything can work together in harmony by giving love and attention to the body, mind, and spirit so that we can create a more balanced life. I want to help guide you in your personal journey to create a life filled with joy, magic, and love.
And I'm Shira, an explorer of personal truth with a background in program management, finance, and more recently a spiritual intuitive, learning to connect with spiritual guides whom I like to call Mount Glass. I have an always growing passion to not only guide myself, but to also guide others in opening to and creating stronger connections with our highest self, allowing us to see and feel life in a whole new loving light.
We believe that we are all connected, and by learning to love self, we will elevate the collective consciousness and learn to create deeper connections with each other, self, and source. As we grow and learn through our own life adventures and self-discoveries, we hope you gain insights into your own truth.
Don't forget to subscribe to stay notified of new content. We would love to hear from you. So if you have any questions or topics you'd like for us to discuss, please email us at contact@lovealwaysself.com. Or you can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at lovealwaysself, and this will be linked in the show notes.
Hello, good morning, listeners, and
Good
morning,
morning.
Shira.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Thank you guys so much for joining us on this episode of Love Always Self. Today we are going to be talking a little bit about reframing. So reframing some negative thought patterns into more positive ones so that we can have a more positive and joyful and loving existence.
Yay! Bring on the love.
Yes, something we're all striving for, right? We want to love this life, right? It makes it a little bit more fun.
It does. It does. It definitely does. And I know I've noticed the difference just in the way that I've been reframing things in my own head and my own space. I know that for 100%, the ability to sit back on some of the internal thoughts that are going on in my head and just taking actual time to listen to those thoughts and be like, okay, where's that coming from?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's been a game changer.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And this is actually one of my favorite topics to talk about with my patients, people that I work with. If you don't know, I have been a nurse for over 16 years and I love what I do. And I'm super blessed to be able to provide support and care to people during, vulnerable timeframes. So this is, again, one of my favorite topics because I think it's really valid and important, and we recognize that we have the capacity to change our experience from what may be a negative experience to a more positive experience.
Oh, yeah.
So one of the simplest examples of this that I like to throw out to people is, like if you're running late or something, right? You're driving to a meeting, you're going to a doctor's appointment, you're just trying to get somewhere. And you're like, shit, like I am running late. You walk in, you're like, I am so sorry I'm running late and da-da-da-da. So right there off the bat, you are saying an I am statement, right? So that's a manifesting statement. I am sorry. You're not a sorry being. You're not a sorry person. No. So instead of saying, I'm sorry for being late, taking that opportunity to express gratitude. Thank you so much for being patient in my tardiness. Right?
What's funny is right when you were saying that, I was thinking to myself, I was like, I used to always say, and I actually even wanted to say right then and there, oh my God, I am always late. Mm-hmm. And it's like, no, that's not true. That's not true at all. Like, why did I just say that to myself? Or why am I trying to say that to myself or create that new,
that pattern,
right?
That experience, that belief. So that is in its simplest form, how we start reframing. So how do we see the silver lining and how do we focus on the positive aspects of things? Because in manifestation, when we are focused on something, whether you want to view it as positive, negative, good, or bad, when you are focused on that aspect of something, you will continue to bring that into your reality, into your existence. So, like you said, when you say, I am late, well, you're bringing that into your reality. You're making that, you're manifesting that as your truth. So, do you want to manifest and bring in more negative experiences? Or do you want to, again, create a more positive, loving, joyful life existence?
Yeah. I mean, that's something that it takes work. It's not something that just, I mean, you know what? I take that back. There are some people that I have met that are like, one day I just woke up and I have decided to reframe my thought process.
Just
Boom.
flip that light switch.
Just flip the light switch. I'm like, wow, good for you. That's amazing. I would say that the majority of us, including myself, had to work on that a little bit.
Yeah,
Again,
yeah.
it's even just now when we were talking, like you were like, that's a great example. The whole I'm late, and
Mm-hmm,
I'm like,
mm-hmm.
I'm always late. And I was like, wait a minute, that's not true. I'm not always late. I'm late occasionally, but I'm not
Well,
always late.
and yeah, as soon as you
Yeah.
express that gratitude instead of stating that I am statement, right? You are not only working on creating a more positive pattern in your own life, but you're also expressing gratitude to the other person, which elevates them in a way. So you're not just elevating yourself, you're elevating other people. And that's what we want to do in the collective consciousness is help each other elevate to that higher state of being. So, what is, how do we work on that, right? Because you're right, it's not always as easy as just flipping a light switch.
Yep. I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with giving yourself a little bit room, right? So giving yourself a bit of space to be okay with certain situations. I mean, for jobs, I'm a manager where I work, and there could be those that are supposed to be somewhere on time, but I'm not always, and this can't be every situation. I'm fully aware of that when I say this out loud, but like I'm fully aware that the amount of stress that's put on an individual if they're trying to get somewhere within 5 minutes and they might be 5 minutes late. Well, that's okay. So that's me giving them space to not feel so tense and stressed out and then start creating those thought processes of, oh my God, the world's going to fall apart because I'm 5 minutes late, right? So I'm aware of that myself as a manager to in giving that space to the employees. But for back to like your personal self,
Mm-hmm.
if you are creating the habit of, we'll just continue to use this example, is always being late. That's something that maybe you should personally look within and be okay that, hey, it's okay that this is a pattern that I've created, but how can I improve myself? Do I give myself a little bit more time? Do I give myself a little bit more space to not have to feel so rushed in the mornings and, or evenings or whatever time?
Yeah, and I think that points out, the first step in trying to learn how to reframe, right? Recognizing those intrusive thoughts,
Taking
the
responsibility.
those repeated thoughts, right? We recognize, okay, I have this pattern because I consistently tell myself I am always late, right? So that is our intrusive thought. So we have to become intentional about stopping that thought, which you did just now, right? On this recording. You caught yourself before you said it out loud and you were like, well, why am I doing that? And so then we start replacing those thoughts with, okay, I want to express gratitude and elevate rather than, reduce my frequency.
Yep. I
And
like it.
and yeah, yeah. So this, I had a example of this with me earlier this week, and one of the things that I have felt resistance for in the past few weeks is learning that I will be returning back to work in person. And, as a nurse, like I said, I've been a nurse for almost 2 decades, and not once have I had the opportunity to work from home. So, for the past 15 months, I've been able to experience the grass on the other side of the fence working from home as a nurse. And I love what I do. I said that earlier. It's just a really special opportunity to be able to be a part of something so, I would say, people don't have a lot of access or experience with supporting people through health issues. And again, I'm very blessed to be able to do that. But in the last 15 months, I've gotten really comfortable at home, not having to get ready and take a shower every morning on time so that I can leave on time, so that I can drive to work, to be there on time and sit there for, X number of hours and not in my pajamas. And I've got to put on makeup, and God forbid I brush my hair. Thank God my manager was like, "Oh, just throw your long locks up into a scrunchie." And you don't need makeup anyway. So, I love my manager. She's awesome. But on Monday, a couple days ago, I started seeing those thoughts, right? I'm recognizing that I am having resistance. I'm not just staying in that resistance. And it was like, kind of like the light switch thing. I had an epiphany. Thank you, higher self, for connecting with me and helping me to realize that, I had this memory of when I walk into the building, 9 times out of 10, because it's part of who I am, I initiate a smile and a good morning, how's your day, how are you? And I work with a lot of, I'd say, more introverted people. And so me being that person to say, hi, good morning, I am recognizing now how positive that is for me. It puts me in a place of happiness and love. And I understand people have issues with the fake it till you make it. But as soon as you start smiling, right, even if you're faking the smile, you kind of feel it a little bit. And then the more you do it, the more you connect with that smile. And that's elevating my vibration. That's making me happy. And then you look at how I'm connecting with other people, and somebody else may not have experienced a smile from, a stranger or anything like that for several hours. And I just gave them that smile and elevated their frequency. So now we are elevating the collective consciousness.
And you're exchanging higher energy between each
Yes.
other. Even if it lasts just for a few seconds, it's still
Yes.
positive. It still brings it in with the entire collective, or that co-creation of something higher than a low vibing scenario. I mean, you never know like who you're impacting in that moment
Yeah.
when you're being kind to somebody for even just a few seconds.
And just remembering that, it kind of like flipped the switch and made me excited about going back next week. There's still a little nerves as far as, okay, again, I need to be timely in the morning. I don't have any wiggle room to hit the snooze button. But then I get to go love on people and receive some of the benefits of that love too, within myself,
Well,
right?
think of all that resistance that we've created. And, even in this last, like before this situation happened, right? There was a lot of resistance for people that didn't want to work from home, that were forced to because of, the sitch. So I call it the sitch, so we don't get, banned from anything. So with that being said, though, there was a lot of resistance. I remember so many people creating a resistance to that, in the sense that they would say, like, it's impossible to work from home with this type of a job. Well, then we just picked it up and figured it out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I myself have always been pretty fortunate, and I've always, not always, I mean, but for the better part of my career, I've had several work from home days. So, at least throughout the week. So there's also scenarios of, I myself included, that started a new job right when all of the situation happened. Right. So, I mean, and now I'm about to go into, back into an actual office environment, later in the year. And that'll be completely new. I'm going to actually get to see a lot of the faces that I've only seen via webcam, or via like a WebEx or a Zoom call or whatever. So uh, there's
But
some
then,
excitement there,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
But there is some resistance because I mean, I might look great from the top up at the current moment, but I'm wearing pajama pants down below, right? So like, and it's comfortable. And because we've been home for so long, we've created this comfortable bubble for ourselves that, and there's going to be this exchange of energy that we haven't had to experience for quite some time. We were very, very used to it 24/7 and probably not even aware of how that impacts ourselves during that period. A lot of people have now, especially probably most of our listeners, have now realized or have gone through some, changes in their lives where they had to kind of sit within, and they're a bit more aware of how that energy exchange impacts one another. And so now you're going back into that element, and you can either allow that to bring you down, or you can take everything that we've practiced over the year and keep your, bubble of energy protection, but still exchange the more positive, or look at it from a more positive direction.
You
See the
can
good
still
in it.
be, yeah, you can still be excited about life without necessarily being excited about the individual events, but you can still bring joy to those events, those situations, and have a great experience and
Yeah.
enjoy it despite not necessarily wanting to be a part of it. It's a choice, and that's a tough one for sure.
You're kind of taking the bullet for me on this one and just kind of bringing it back and letting me know, like, hey, how's it going? How'd that go? That work, going back to work thing
Yeah,
work out
yeah.
for you?
Well, and just think about all the people that you will be interacting with that you haven't had that opportunity to, like, say you don't work with them regularly via WebEx, right?
Yeah.
Now you have more opportunity to help spread the love, right? We want people to synchronize with that love, to know that they're loved and cared for. So, again, back to reframing, making sure that we're watching those patterns, catching them, making an intention to change those patterns and create joy in your life. And then we start thinking, okay, well, where's the silver lining and how can I see the positive in this? And then we start focusing on that so that we are manifesting more positive outcomes and more positive events in our life. And I actually, was thinking too, going back to being late, right? There is something to be said about divine timing.
Oh, yeah.
So if you are so stressed about getting somewhere, right, on time, you're going to miss the fact that the universe is doing something for you. There's a reason. And we may not always know it, but I'm learning to trust that for whatever reason, I am running a couple minutes late, and I am grateful that the other person has patience for that.
Oh, yeah. And just because I do sometimes need to wear that managerial hat in my day-to-day life, at least Monday through Friday. Being respectful of other people's time is something that should be part of your consideration. So when we're using this example, I just have to say that we're not saying it's okay to be late every day.
Yeah.
So, But at the same time, if something arises, if a situation occurs, say you slept through your alarm clock, maybe you needed that extra few minutes, maybe something is actually taking place to align you to where you need to be later on that day because of that, right? What we're trying to say is giving yourself a little bit of space and less self-attack on these emotions that you might have and these stress levels that you're creating whenever you're having those types of moments. And this is really can just be applied to like any topic, honestly, any type of scenario, not even just the running late. This is just is a good one I'm pretty sure half the planet can relate to. So
I think what you're trying to say is practice being kind to yourself,
yes,
right? So
yes.
don't be so hard on yourself, and just uh, know that when you are trying to achieve something, if you fail at it, failure is not the opposite of success. This has been like my running motto this week.
Ooh.
Failure is not the opposite of success, it is part of it. And
I need a
the
microphone to
only
drop, but I don't, this one's already kind of sketchy, so I don't want to do that just yet.
and that the only failure is if you stop trying.
Say it louder for the kids in the back. Say it again, Carrie. Say it again.
Failure is not the opposite of success, it is part of success.
Yeah. Yes, queen.
So as long as you're trying, right, you are successful. And if you don't succeed at something in the way that you wanted to, okay, don't be angry at yourself. Don't be harsh on yourself. Just take a look at it. Okay, well, what can I learn from it? How do I adjust, what I'm doing to get the outcome that I desire? Or is my desired outcome now different?
Yes.
Thoughts.
Love it. I absolutely love it. Man, the self-sabotaging thoughts that can pop in um, are can be immense,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you start to become aware of those self-sabotaging thoughts and those types of I am statements. And this conversation might actually trigger that for you. Who knows? But when you are starting to become aware of it and you start to catch it, then little by little, you start to learn how to kind of deactivate that or reframe it. Um,
So let's use another example, right? I am angry, right? You
mhm.
are saying that you are embodying anger. So rather than saying, I am angry, expressing it as, I am experiencing anger in this moment,
Right.
right? You are not the anger. You are feeling the anger course through you.
I
And
am
then you
not
let it
that.
go. If you need to experience it, great. Okay, fine. Experience it. Do what you need to. Some of that is part of the process of letting it go, right? Experiencing it,
I mean, did
looking at it.
did you have like a little moment just there where I can't remember the name of the movie, but it's an animation and the emotions are all individual characters and one's like this anger and
Oh,
it's like red with the little flames.
I know what you're talking about. I can't think of the name of it, but I love that movie too.
Oh, so cute, so good. I'll have to remember the name of it. Anyway, but yeah, that's literally what I was thinking about when you say I am anger, you just alter your entire energy and your emotion and your self being over to that little character guy of the anger and that's all you're operating from, right? Versus
And
acknowledging that you have an entire different mix that you can actually just work through and it's just a little tiny part of what's going on with you at that exact moment.
absolutely. I love that movie. It's so cute.
Man, so good,
I'm trying
so
to remember
good.
the name of it. Um, but then also, like, looking at the silver lining of things, I think it's important when you recognize that you are in a pattern of negative thinking and you're trying to reframe and go into a different state of mind and focus on more positive aspects, is that you start listing things out. Okay. It doesn't matter how small they are or how big they are. It doesn't matter. All that matters is that you are recognizing the positive aspects of it. And so that you're bringing it forth into your focus. And so that you are manifesting more positive aspects of your life. So, like other silver linings of me going back to work is I have access to a cafe with healthy, fresh, hot food that I don't
Oh,
have
that
to cook.
cafe.
I am so excited.
I
I,
swear that's like
I'm
everyone's response. And they're like, what are you most excited about when we return to the office? And everyone's
food.
like, the food, that I don't have to cook every single meal.
Yeah, I'm super stoked about it. And so that means I'm actually going to be taking better care of myself because what I do at home right now is if I don't see anything that's easy, quick, and in alignment with my taste buds at the moment, I'm just going to walk away and drink some more water. So
Yeah.
I'm going to eat more. And not only that, I'm going to move more. I have
Yeah.
to get out of the house. I got to walk to my car. I got to go drive and park and walk from the parking lot to the clinic and walk around the clinic a bunch. I sit on my ass most of the day today, like now.
You
My
know,
hips hurt.
and it's a really good topic. I mean, I don't know if we'll have enough time to cover all of this today, but something that we can consider talking about on one of our next episodes or future episodes is how do we continue to remember and not fall back into old patterns or behaviors prior to everything that we have learned over the last year while we did have all this time to sit and reflect and be at home a lot more. Like working on that grounding, even if you're just walking into the office, take that opportunity to understand that you are connected to the ground. You're currently outside from your car to the building. Use that minutes to just think about, that grounding effect as you're
Oh,
walking into that
yeah.
environment.
One of the things that I
Yeah.
do when I'm walking from the parking garage to the building, which it maybe takes 30 seconds to a minute, is I look up at the
Mm.
sky. I feel the air. I look at the clouds. I see the breeze moving through the trees. And I try to, recognize any birds, singing or flying nearby. Like I try to connect with that nature on the way in. Even though it's brief, it still feels so good.
Yeah. Oh man, that's got to change like your whole day too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I love it.
And honestly, I'm super excited about getting to hang out with my work wife again.
Oh, work wifeys. Got work husbands, work wives.
Yeah,
Not sure how spouses feel about those
yeah.
statements, but you know what? You know what we're talking about. It's cool.
Exactly.
Your work besties or,
Yeah,
your
yeah.
partners in crime. Those are always fun to have. And if you're fortunate enough to have one, that's good. I haven't seen I've made new friends at work because again, I started a new job right at the beginning of, the sitch. And so we're just trying to that'll be cool to like actually see them in person. Some of them I've never even met in person. I'm like, do you even look different than you do on a WebEx? Is that possible? I don't even know. I don't even know. That's kind of exciting. That part's really exciting. Yeah.
So, yeah. Today, again, just wanted to remind you that you can elevate your experience, this life existence, that when we focus on the negative things, those things will persistently be brought back forth to the forefront. So, working to reframe and refocus and acknowledge the positive so that we are expanding into that loving existence. And we just want you to really enjoy this life because it's not always easy, but there's so many lessons to be learned. There's so much growth opportunity. You are literally an infinite being. We can elevate ourselves and elevate each other just by trying to focus on the positive aspects of things.
Right. And just simply doing a quick reframe or catching and being aware of your thoughts.
And
Absolutely.
It's okay if you don't catch on immediately. It takes
Yeah.
time, it takes practice, it takes kindness, a little bit of consistency.
Consistency is so key. P.S. We're very human, so we have to work on these things ourselves. And
All the time. We are constantly learning. So, on that note, we would both love to hear if you have any recommendations, anything that you do that helps keep you in that positive state of mind, focused on the silver linings and the joyful aspects. So, please let us know. Hit us up on social media, on Instagram, on Facebook, subscribe, like, share. Help us.
absolutely.
Help you, help others. That's what this community is about.
Yay. Thank you all so much again for listening and for being a part of our community. We appreciate you all so much, and have a great rest of your week.
Enjoy. Love you guys.
Bye.
Lovely infinite beings, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us in this moment and being open to receiving light and love. We hope you enjoyed today's episode, and we really look forward to our next connection.
And as a reminder, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay notified of new content from Love Always Self. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Love Always Self, which will be linked in the show notes. We would love to hear from y'all. So if you have any questions or topics you'd like us to discuss, please email us at contact@lovealwaysself.com or send us a private message on our social media.
I'm Karista.
And I'm Shira.
And until next time, love always self.
Love Always Self podcast is meant for entertainment